Yes, Doc.
I'm
I,
actually recording, no, the oral defense. Have you noticed that one, Pacifico nga I'm recording?
yes, Doc. There is a button there. Record.
How about Mara, Jade, and Klein?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, sige. Okay, so who will start? Jade, Klein, or Mara?
Okay, sir. I'll start first.
Oh,
Okay, so I have seen that some of you are good afternoon first to you, Sir Suico, Pacifico, right?
Yes,
So
sir. Good
your
afternoon.
so I will go directly to the paper, to the manuscript. Some of your references are from 2011, 2010. I guess we must follow the 5-year rule or six. I guess 5-year rule or six. So back the 6 years. So maybe you can still find some related leads on this that will belong to the 5-year rule, your references. And for your SOP, um, your problem here is you want to show you, but you wanted to know that there's a significant difference between the practices when grouped according to the years, right?
Yes, yes, Doc.
So what is the purpose of the services offered?
It it is one of the moderating variable, but I think there is the services offered are just. I mean, what do you call this one? Are a part of it about the year. So I think as to the years of the institution is practicing those kind of credit management, I think it should be the only significant difference between the years and the C's of credit, and not
Mhm.
of the.
Okay.
I think that's.
I'll
But
write on, Pacifico. Why don't you include services offered?
I think it was overread, or I mean, as I've studied this one, Doc, I think those practices can be developed through the years. So that's why I think it's on the years as to the practices. And
So if you don't include that one in the inferential stat, so why do you include that one in the profile? Services offered. So what's
uh,
the purpose of including services offered in number one if you don't include that one in the inferential statistics?
I mean, Doc, basically, I think I I did not. It should be on the question number four pa dapat. Is another of the of the moderating variable, no, as to the assessment of the microfinance credit practices.
Okay. Okay, go
Thank you for
ahead,
that.
Jay.
Okay, thank you for that, Doc.
another thing is for your related studies, a related lit, I guess,
Okay. What-
for a while. Huh? Let's go back first to the SOPs. So yeah, do you have their 5 C's, right, for the credit
Yes.
management practices? The question here is, why has the 5 C's become the independent variable when it is the credit management practices that is the dependent variable?
Um, I believe, no, that before we get to the a client's perceptions, no, I mean the management perception, we need to consider these 5 C's as to what these I mean clients can give to the uh, to the institution. I believe also that the 5 C's can determine the credit practices of the institution. So by how they assess, no, as to character, the capacity, capital, collateral conditions of the clients.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Um, Kay, it's very confusing, man.
Okay, Doc. Noted.
Sige, so much for, maybe I can call some of them Sir Craig for some questions. I guess Sir Jun Klein or Miss Mara. As of now, muna siya ako mga questions.
Okay, thank you very
Go
much,
ahead,
sir.
or June Klein.
Sir.
Good afternoon, Doc. Good afternoon, ma'am, sir.
So, and Mara, you can go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. Yes, sir. Sir, good afternoon, Mr. Suico.
Good
I
afternoon,
wasn't
ma'am.
satisfied of your answer, your recent answer from Mr. Jade Melange's question. So I think he is just clarifying because your dependent variable is credit management practices. And
Yes, yes.
I learned that those credit management practices are the 5 C's. Am I right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how come na-separate siya? The 5 C's is the independent and the credit management practices is the dependent. Supposed to be same naman na sila, di ba? So how come nga nahimong independent ang 5 C's and dependent ang practices? I think that's
Um,
Mr. Jade's.
I think, ma'am, the credit management practices should be based no on the five C's of credit, no, the character, the capacity, and so on and so forth. I think the dependent variable is the assessment of the microfinance credit management practices. Since, yeah, as I've said earlier, ma'am, I think the basis for those institutions offering these credit practices could be based by these five C's of credit.
Based. Based. So dili siya. Ang 5 C's is not under the credit management practices.
Um, I answered wrong earlier, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So it's different.
It's different. Okay. So I have another question.
Okay.
Or just a comment. Omit those sources that are not published in the past, maybe 5 to 10 years. I saw that there's a 2011 in the introduction.
Yes,
And
doc.
also, also on your statement of hypothesis, the importance of writing both null and alternative hypothesis, because both of these hypotheses are very important since it gives a description, an appropriate description of the phenomena. So you also have to put the alternative. Also,
Thank you.
actually, I commend this straight to the point introduction in the significance of the study, because as I compared it to the other researchers or your other classmates, it is not straightforward, and there are other
Thank you.
terms nga not needed, but they use it. So, it is safer to be straightforward than to be verbose.
Okay,
And
ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
another one on the research methodology. It's actually very straightforward, but I was looking for the number of participants of the
Nice.
study, which wasn't
Um,
specified.
yeah, yeah. Due to lack of time, because I'm very sorry for that, ma'am. Actually, I was planning, this week, but due to, yeah, for some important matters, I'm so sorry for that.
Okay. Also in the research instruments and validity, I have seen that how the I haven't seen how the validity test should be done. I've only read their research instrument. So how is it going to be done?
Um, uh, I, the researcher, will know first, no, the whom am I going to collect data. So basically, those are the from microfinance personnel, no, be it in manager or the supervisor. So I will collect information, using my instrument, my survey questionnaire. So the instrument is composed of two parts, the part one and the part two. So I think that uh, that's it, ma'am.
Okay, what validity test tool shall be used in the study?
Um, I I'm so sorry, ma'am. I can't answer that one yet. So can I ask, ma'am, what should be the way of validating those test results? I mean,
Okay, actually, you can use Cronbox Alpha.
okay,
Okay. Well, there are a lot. There are a lot. So just research about it. Okay, I'm done. Thank
okay,
you.
doc. Thank you very much, ma'am. And
Go over the video on validity and reliability. It's actually in that module, validity and reliability.
okay, doc.
We have a module on validity and reliability, so you can actually go over that module.
Yes, doc.
Okay, thank you, Mara. June Klein.
Uh, Sir, my questions actually already been answered and asked by Sir Ma'am Mara and Sir Jade.
Okay, thank you very much. I just would like to clarify now, Pacifico, about your
Yes, doc.
statement of the number one, number two, and number three. No, you have number one, you have number two, you have number three. But the most important thing is on the output. No? What kind of
Mhm.
output are you going to produce, no, in your proposal? Because if you stop on looking at the significant difference between blah blah blah, so what is then your contribution of your
Mhm.
thesis to the MBA program? So you need to have an output. No,
Output.
what output are you going to develop? Are you going to have a training design? Are you going to have a model? Are you going to have a management model or credit cooperative model? So you must come up with, no, an output of your study. Otherwise, like if you look at into the profile. So what if you know the profile? Number two, what are the credit management practices? So if you know the practices, then so what? If you know that there is a significant difference or no difference at all, knowing the answer of number one, number two, and number three. So what is then the contribution of your thesis? No? So dapat you're going to add the one, and that should be all about the output, no, of your study. What are you going to contribute to the field of business administration or public management?
Yes,
Okay?
doc. Thank you very much, doc.
Okay, so I guess the panel. Jay, do you still have something to comment?
No more, sir.
Okay, so that's it. It's recorded actually. So I'm going to send you the recorded video after the oral defense, and you are going to follow all the comments and suggestions, no, of the panel members. So after this, Pacifico sent your honorarium, no, to the panel members.
Yes, doc.
So
I will.
so panel members, each one of you will be given a modest honorarium of 150 pesos coming from Pacifico Suico. By the way, Pacifico is our alumnus, no, of the College of Business Administration of Norsu. Okay, thank you
Yeah, I
very
will. Okay, doc. I will
much.
send it now, doc.
You know already the GCash of our panel members, no? So kindly
Yes,
send
doc.
your honorarium to the panel members. So we'll have Juvie. Juvie, are you ready?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, sige. Okay, Juvie, kindly introduce yourself to our panel members.
Okay po, Doc. Good afternoon, everyone, especially Doc Craig. I am Juvie Ilumba Sevilla from Dipolog City, and the title of my business research is The Effect of COVID-19 Outbreak on Food Supply Chain in Dipolog City. All.
Okay, thank you very much, Juvie. Okay, we'll start with who would like to start? Jade?
Okay, so great. Okay, so good afternoon, Miss Judy.
Good afternoon po, sir.
To the format, I can
By
see
the
there's
way, panel members, no, Juby was one of my
Ye-
students way back 1990, no, when I taught at Andres Bonifacio College, no, some 20 years ago.
Yes po.
Sige. Okay, Jade, go ahead.
yes. So good afternoon again, Miss Sevilla.
Good afternoon then again, sir.
Um, your research is about. Sorry, nawala. Sorry for a while. Sevilla. So okay, so the effect of COVID-19 outbreak on food supply chain in Dipolog City. So I'll go directly to the statement of the problem. You
Treatment of the problem.
yes. So the statement of the problem, there are types of manufacturers, I guess. Okay, so there are types of manufacturers in there. So what are the types of manufacturers in here? And maybe you have some study that will support this one. Have you placed it also in your related literature? A study to support the types of manufacturers in here?
Yes po, sir.
Then that these manufacturer, the types of manufacturer has also effects to the following terms in here, like the production, processing, distribution, consumption, and disposal.
Variable. Variable. Come again, sir.
So,
So, sir, mawala-wala ang signal, sir. Sorry.
sige, so for the types of manufacturers, you have here,
Variable. Yes,
the,
sir. Yes, sir.
for the types of manufacturers here, right? So maybe you can place it here, the different types of manufacturers. So my question is, do you have some study in there or that will support this? And of course, the effects of these types of manufacturers to production, processing, distribution, consumption, and disposal. Have you placed this one in your related literature?
On my related literature, sir, it explains the profile of food supply chain in the Polog. Then we have the manufacturers, sir, the goods imported, the commodities imported, and the types of farms and meat and goods are intended to the effect of COVID-19.
So my question is, do you have their literatures that will support that the types of manufacturers will or has an effect to production, processing, distribution, consumption, and disposal?
Yes, sir.
Can you please locate that in your related lit, please?
Okay, sorry lang, sir, ha? Literature. Sir. Literature. Sorry lang, sir. Kurba, sir. On the
So
on
this
the
is a tip to everyone. When you write something in your statement of the problems, you have to make sure that these will all be supported by literatures, and it should be placed in your review of related literatures.
okay. Oh, okay, sir. So in the local literature,
I can also see there a lot of local literature, a lot of foreign literatures. I guess it's not that organized in your review of related literature.
sorry
It's
po, sir.
confusing because there are a lot of local literature you've written there, local literatures. Then you also have, I guess, 3 local literatures. Then
You have your foreign literature also.
yes, and what are those things? So you must be very specific on those things.
according to the foreign literature, sir, the COVID-19 pandemic had a profound impact on all types
So
of
that's not the question.
business globally.
I'm referring to this question are the types of manufacturers you have
The types of
take
manufacturers.
as
Okay.
an effect to production processing. I guess you don't have that, right? So you must really find literatures or related leads for this that it will
Sir,
take effect really to production and so on and so forth.
I only say manufacturer, sir, pero no sample of kinds of manufacturer.
So you don't have also literatures that will support that
The
some
types
types
of,
of
ay, sorry.
manufacturers
We
will
have here
take
the
up an
types of,
effect.
sorry, sir. We have here the types of manufacturer, the agriculture,
Mhm.
the, that's it, sir?
And
The,
those are the types of manufacturers. The question again is, will those types of manufacturers you have has an effect to production, processing, distribution, consumption, and disposal, or you don't have?
I have this, sir.
Okay.
The,
So you must find literatures that will really support this concept in here about that the manufacturers will really have an effect to the production, processing, distribution, consumption. So as of now, that's my question, Sir Craig.
Okay, thank you very much, Jade. Mara?
Okay, just relax, Ma'am Sibyl.
sorry, sorry,
Okay.
ma'am.
So here are my comments and questions. On the introduction, on the first, second, and third paragraphs, I have observed that as you write your sentences,
Introduction.
you seem like you are very sure of what you're saying while not mentioning any sources. Okay, it is very important that we mention sources. Okay, not that story-story ta dito without
Okay.
yeah naming the sources because to avoid plagiarism. On the theoretical framework, also use sources published in the past 5 to 10 years. Omit those that are not.
Okay po.
Okay. So in the statement of hypothesis,
Statement of
the
hypothesis.
comment na you have to include also the alternative hypothesis.
I have only one man.
Yes, you have to
Yeah.
include both the null and alternative hypothesis because it provides the approximate description of the situation or problem.
Okay po.
Okay. This one, on the operational definitions. As I
Operational
went,
definitions. Okay.
yes. Okay, let's go there. As
Okay
I
po.
went through the definition of manufacturer, it caught my attention. From having been able to see the definition, it's so broad and basic. So I searched for its definition and I figured out that it came from the dictionary of from Oxford Languages. 'Di ba?
Yes po,
'Di ba?
ma'am.
Right? Okay. So
Sorry.
please make sure that the operational definition of terms would be a detailed description of the technical terms and measurements of the variables used in the research study. Okay? Not
Okay
according
po.
to the definition of Oxford Languages, because that is a Google user-friendly definition. Okay?
Okay
Please
po.
define it according to how it's going to be used in your study.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. Um, okay, so let's go to Masig mahalo tanaw nag-ask ko. Ato katagan sa line. Okay. So, dili na ta. Let's go to the research respondents.
Research respondent. Okay po.
Okay. How are you able to get 50 as the sample size?
This was taken, ma'am, according to the P. Okay. This is the total Yes, ma'am. Yes, this is the total respondents of the male and female, which happens to be my um, which
The,
happens to be
the participants of your study.
yes po,
So
ma'am.
how are you able to get that 50?
Uh,
Yoto.
as I go over my research, I have met 32 male respondents, then 18 female respondents po.
You have met, so you're already done in conducting the study.
Not all po.
So what is the population? Do you have the data of the population?
The data of the population. Yes po, ma'am.
What is the population?
It's more than 50, but I only use 50.
Okay. So there's only a few. Good day. Okay,
Yes po,
sige.
ma'am.
Okay, lastly, on the statistical treatment of data, I was surprised by the phrase the level of satisfaction. The level of
Yes.
satisfaction. So where did you get the level of satisfaction, diba? It's there. Where did you get that level of satisfaction? Nga your study is on the effects, diba?
Yes
So where
po.
did you get that level of satisfaction?
By sending the respondents the questionnaire po. Uh, that is my
And also, I haven't seen it throughout your paper na walay level of satisfaction kang na-introduce or sa statement of the problem, it's not there. Sa conceptual framework, wala. So where does that level of satisfaction come from?
comes from the data I've gathered po, ma'am.
The data gathered? Do you have you have started conducting the study, diba? You have started
Yes
your
po,
survey.
ma'am.
So
Half of it.
I think you haven't presented the questionnaire.
I have sent it
You have sent.
the last part po.
It's on the last part.
We have here the respondent personal information. The research questionnaire po, ma'am.
Okay, so ani na lang ha. I'm going to ask you the effects, about the effects. How are you
About
going
the
to
effects.
measure
Okay.
the effects? The effects nga production, distribution, and so on. How are you going to measure them?
I'm going to measure it through the questionnaire given by the respondents po.
How are you going to measure the questionnaire? Why? What's in the questionnaire?
I let them answer the questionnaire. There are
So how was it measured?
through the answer of the respondents.
That's not should be the answer.
Sorry po.
Do you what are the factors under production? Or what are the indicators in your questionnaire? What are the indicators under production?
Okay, the indicators under production.
Wait, I'll go over it na lang po.
Indicator of the production.
Tora, my workers find it difficult and more The effect. The title here, or the heading, is the effect. But you mentioned about level of satisfaction. Do you think the two are correlated? The effect and level of satisfaction? Do you
I
think these
think
two things coincide?
I think they are not correlated
I would
as
like
I
to
go over.
interfere. I guess
Po.
this is a self-made survey. Am I correct? It's questionnaire. Is this a
Yes po,
self-made?
sir.
Ala,
Yes po, sir. Self-made questionnaire.
are we accepting self-made questionnaire, survey questionnaire? You have to make sure if this is self-made survey questionnaire, so it must run to different tests, validity, reliability, and diba? Am I correct? So maybe you can just look for questionnaires or survey questionnaires that would fit to this study, and you can just grab it and use it. Okay, if you're going to use self-made survey questionnaire, I guess, for example, the question of Professor Gaer, some of your questions in there are not really related. So that's all. That's the comment I have. You can continue, Miss Gaer.
Okay. I'm still confused and I really wanted to know. You mentioned their level of satisfaction, but the heading here is the effect. So
Level of
I guess this
satisfaction.
can't be settled since koan kanang
So,
wala yeah, wala ni undergo og
Yes,
test or
oo,
kanang review nga dapat ma
self-made lang man
ano.
iyahang questionnaire. So,
because I have already have my self-made
So this
questionnaire po.
oo. So dili mahimong valid pod ang imuhang
oh,
mga results.
tools.
Start naman ka di ba conduct, dili siya
Yes
mahimong
po.
valid.
Ah, okay.
How have you conducted the study DI without? This is still a
Yes, to be
proposal.
Juby, what you are going
Yes
to do
po.
is review on validity and reliability module. You are going to validate your instrument and you are going to undergo reliability testing.
Yes po, Doc.
So, ing ano na lang. And I wanted, or I would like you to settle with the effects. Effects ang imuhang
The
layan.
effect of,
O, then ing imong gibutang dito sa statistical treatment, level of satisfaction. If
okay.
they don't coincide. Okay? That's it. That's all. Sir Jun Klein.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you po, ma'am.
So,
Jim Klein.
uh, okay. So, I lang i-mind ang background. I hope you can hear me clearly. Okay. So first
It's
things first,
okay.
with regards to self-made questionnaires,
Questionnaire, yes po,
you
sir.
said here that it is already validated by 3 experts in this field. Okay. Also, I take note that make sure that your paper should have a page number so that it would be easy
Ah,
for us
okay po.
to look
To
to look.
locate.
Yeah.
Sorry po, sir.
Okay. Also,
Hmm.
with regards to your questionnaires, you put here in your research instrument and validity sentence number 2. Okay, so the questionnaires is consisting of 2 parts. First, the first part would be the profile of the respondents, which contains name, status, address, monthly income, etc., in which it is not written in the questionnaire that you have presented on the last page
Ah, okay
or
po.
the last part. Also, since you are getting their personal information, make sure to put it in your statement of the problem
Yes po,
to get
sir.
the profile of the respondents.
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Also, I think if make sure also that your questionnaire or the answers should be somewhat measurable, since you are using. It says here that you're using chi-squared test, and your questionnaire is like ang first is types of manufacturer. Types of manufacturer, and you have also here on the last others. So how can we measure others? Okay, so
Sorry
make
po.
Yeah, no problem, ma'am. So just make
Oh,
sure that because in research, the questionnaire is somewhat important. Okay, so
yes
make
po,
sure
sir.
to look at your questionnaires again, and
Yes.
yeah, or if dili siya kayo lisod, just look for like a sample questionnaires in the internet so that you can have a reference.
Ah, okay.
So also, just like side comment lang, mama.
Yes
Your
po, sir.
paper is more siya somewhat na siya na-divide gani yung paper na
Ay,
siya
pa.
mga box sa kilid, ma'am. So I think i-remove lang na siya, ma'am. Okay, just
Ah,
make it simple.
sorry. Sorry po, sir.
Because of the comments, I guess there's a comments on it. So muna siyang naipak siya sa kilid.
Yeah, sakto dahil na dre.
Na yung mga comments sa kilid. So maybe just put the comments na lang.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay po.
And lastly, ma'am, make sure nga your questionnaire should run by pilot testing after you make your questionnaire so that it can be run by Cranbox Alpha.
Okay po. Okay
So
po.
yes, that's all my comments and suggestions.
Okay po.
Okay, thank
Thank you
you
po,
so much,
sir.
John Klein. Jovi,
Yes po, sir.
reference to your statement of the problem, no? I don't see a last statement of the
Statement of the problem.
turning outcome. What is actually your output, no, of the study? Knowing the answer of number one, number two, number three, number four. So what output are you going to produce so that you will have a contribution to the field of business administration? So you need to look up into knowing the answer of number one, number two, number three, number four. What are you going to come up with? A training
Okay.
design, a training program, an intervention program, or a model.
Okay
The
po.
same to the examples that I have presented. No? The last one is all about the output of the study. And that should be reflected also into your conceptual framework. Okay, so
Okay.
thank you very much, Juvie and panel members. Then Juvie, after this, send your honorarium to the three panel members. No?
Yes po, Doc. Doc,
Okay,
thank you very much. Tumulong pili ko, Doc.
Can
okay, so
I
the
ask?
next one, Ma'am Arixel, are you ready?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. Ma'am Arixel, could you introduce yourself to our panel members?
Great, Doc. Hi. Good evening, Doc Craig, and to our panelists, Professor Jun Clean Teves, Mara Shane Gaer, and Professor Jade Melancho. Let me introduce myself. I am Arixel Dicantila, civil engineer. I am a MPM student of St. Vincent's College. My research title is The Relationship of Educational Qualification Work Philippine Ports Authority, Port Management Office of Zamboanga del Norte.
Okay, thank you very much, Arixel. Okay, we'll start now. Who will start? Jade,
Okay, Sir Craig.
number one, number two, number three. So I'm now having a label, no? Who will be number one, number two, and number two?
Okay, so for this study, I would like to go directly to the statement of the problem because you only have two, right? And
Yes,
I would go
yes.
directly to this question. You want to check if there's a relationship between educational qualification and employee work performance, right? How will you
Yes.
measure here employee work performance? I can't see anything here that you will measure the employee work performance.
You mean the survey questionnaire, sir?
It's up to you, but so how will you measure
Yes,
the work
I have
performance?
not attached the survey questionnaire. Actually, I have it patterned lang po in a research po na I have seen online po.
Mm-hmm.
I will be using the survey questionnaire, sir.
You want to measure Bia, and you don't have anything here that would state the work performance that would get the employee work performance. So how will you find out the relationship between these two?
Um, I will just be using a questionnaire po where parang ano, they will it is a Likert scale po wherein they will tick the boxes po if they agree to this statement po.
So the survey questionnaires will measure the employee work performance. Di ba the employer will be the one to do for that?
Oh, I get
Not
your
the
point, sir. I
survey.
get your point. Opo. I was, yes po.
Mm-hmm. And on the significance of the study also, I can see that this study will provide research-based information of what? How are you going to gather the data? It will just be the data available in the field or by asking questions?
I will select po ano, I will be doing survey po.
Mm-hmm. And of course, who else can benefit from this study aside from the employees, the management, the customers, and other researchers?
I guess other companies po can also benefit po.
Mm-hmm.
I should have included more pa po.
So you have to make sure that you must really formulate your statement of the problems very well. Kay we will base it here, everything in here. So I have seen it here that you have here employee work performance, but we can't find anything in your paper or in your manuscript that will suffice a statement. How will you get the employee work performance? Through a survey? I guess surveys will. So look for this.
Yes po.
Look for this. And another thing is for your references, I can find that you still have references from 1990 and so on and so forth.
Opo.
So omit this 2009, 1964, 1986. This is
Yes.
very
Yes po.
So you have to follow the 5-year or 6-year rule in finding related literatures.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, for now, maybe I can ask for another question. Yes?
Sir, I would like to ask po if it's okay po kasi in our company po we have those IPCR. Can I have that po?
Oh, you can
As
use that one if you just need
individual performance.
you just need to place it here.
Okay.
Kay malibog man ta sa statement of the problem, asa nimo na unsaon nimo, how will you compare na, how will you test their significance without
Yes.
the data, without those data, especially na you will test the
Yes.
relationship between educational qualification and employee work performance. So, and the other things here in your number 1, there are a lot of things that you've asked in here. So what's the use of this if you just want to get the relationship between educational qualification and the employee work performance?
Yes.
So maybe you can still add more or whatsoever in here.
Okay. Okay, sir.
For now, Sir Craig, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Miss Mara?
Good evening, Ma'am Cantila. I
Good
think
evening po.
the family name that's written there on your manuscript is Damaso. Am I right?
Ala, I'm really sorry. I just got newly married po.
Congratulations.
That's why. Okay.
Nakalimutan
Congratulations.
ko.
Tingnan ko. Okay.
Kantila na din.
Oo, kantila na di. Sorry po.
Okay. Sige, sige.
Okay.
Let's go on the statement of the problem. It is written, this study aims to determine the relationship between the educational qualification and work experience. But
Yes.
the question stated, do not show educational qualification and work experience, or work performance rather, Okay, and work performance. Okay, general profile can be only seen, diba? And you
Yes.
mentioned, okay, you mentioned educational qualification and work performance, pero ang nakita ra sa statement of the problem, general profile. So what do you think should be taken from the profile to measure educational qualification? And how would you measure the work performance?
Um, I think po yung the level of education po
Ah,
kasi I'm planning to focus
For
on
the educational qualification.
yes po. Um,
Yes, okay.
the bachelor's degree po, masteral. And then like what I have said po with sir a while ago, I think po I will include na lang po that IPCRF, IPCR, opo.
So you have to arrange it, okay? So
Yes.
how would you measure the work performance? Katong
Kasi based on my observation, I mean based on my experience po in the IPCR, we have those satisfactory like that wherein they have what we call that kanang na grading system. I think po I will
so you're going to use the IPCR for the work performance.
yes po. I'm planning to po.
Sige. Another thing on the scope and the limitations of the study, I have seen that there are lacking information. You must include the time frame within which the data is to be collected, and
Okay.
also it lacks how the research is to be conducted.
Thank you, sir.
Okay po.
Okay, so muna to sa IPCR, muna okay ra operational.
Kasi RR.
Um, okay. Is there a questionnaire already?
Actually po kanina I've searched for a questionnaire po in the internet and I have seen po I wish to pattern it po na lang doon.
To pattern.
Opo.
Okay, let's go on the conceptual framework. It shows that the statement of the problem and the conceptual framework of the study are not correlated, or they are not matched. So which variable or variables on the profile is on educational qualification? So I'm still on the arranging of your kanang educational qualification kay general profile ramon gud akong nakita. Oo.
Okay.
So ay hinoon you already said it man, di ba? Kung unsay under some. But would you still include the profile? The general profile, because there are also factors under the general profile nga dili part sa educational qualification, di ba?
Yes po.
So would you still retain those variables?
I'm actually po ma'am I'm confused po kasi talaga if if better po ba nga kanang work sana kanang if educational qualification na lang or if I will include pa po the other as in like mga if age po what you call that as kanang profile ba ma'am kanang sa employee. Pero I want to focus lang po kasi talaga on educational attainment
Qualification.
para dili nakaayo ka ng broad.
Okay. Sir Craig will give you the best advice for that. Okay.
Our Excel, what you are going to do is that would depend on the review of related literature and depending on the purpose of your study. We could not decide actually on what are to be included. No, it would depend on your review of related literature about your proposed study. So if you have literature that includes gender, age, department, and all that you have included in number one, from
Yes.
1.1 to 1.7, then include all of them. However, if you don't have literature about each of those, then omit some.
Okay po. Okay, I understand doc.
Thank you, Sir Craig. Let's go on the research methodology. The one that is written on the significance of the study, which
Yes.
is research-based information. This doesn't match with the research method stated here, that is survey. Diba? Research-based. Then, mag-survey ka. So just be careful at using words or terms.
Opo, opo.
Okay. Um, another question. Why do you say that the study is both descriptive and explanatory? As I read your paper, I agree with descriptive. But why do you think it also involves explanatory design?
I wish to examine po kasi the effect po of job of what do you call that, of educational qualification po with ano. I am planning to talk about it po in the next chapter if ever.
Are you
Ka naman.
going to are you going to do an in-depth interview?
Not anymore, ma'am.
Not, so it's not explanatory design. And besides, the first thing that you're going to consider to use the explanatory design is that wala pa kayo siya na research before.
Oh,
Oo.
okay, okay.
And you're going to give them, yes, information nga in-depth interview and so on.
Mm.
Okay. And I think si Sir Jun kayo na lang para na mabili na questions.
Thank you, Miss Mara.
Thank you, thank you.
June Klein, go ahead.
Hi, ma'am. Good. I think
Hi po, sir.
it's almost evening, so good evening na lang. Okay. So, do you have already with the questionnaires or no, never mind. Hindi ka nga nakita na. Okay. So, same comment as the previous researcher. When you have your questionnaire, make sure it is validated.
Yes.
And one way to validate uh, your questionnaires is to run it by Cronbach's Alpha. Oh,
Ano po yun?
Cronbach's Alpha.
Cranbox.
I'll chat it.
Oh, okay po. Thank you. Cranbox Alpha. Okay.
Okay, but that is a very important tool to validate questionnaires. Okay, so I think the answer na po ni your employee work performance. So
Yes.
you are using the IPCR,
Yes po.
and in your analysis of data, make sure that you put what type of tool are you using, since you are using a significant relationship.
Okay po.
Just put what tool are you using. And lastly, for the your references, the same with Sir Jade, make sure that it is 5 years, at least 5 years.
Yes po.
Yeah. For now, I think that's my comment. I don't have any questions for now.
I still have one day.
Thank you so much, June Klein. Jade, go ahead.
For the respondents, I am confused with you've used, diba? What's the formula you've used, Mango, to determine the
The Slovens po?
yes, the Sloven. So what's your N in here? The big letter N is the total number of population, right? The target.
Yes po. Yes po.
Okay, so basically your sample here is 133.
Yes po.
What's the purpose of the table below? Kay table distribution
kasi-
of research population. So
Kasi po in our organization po we have different divisions.
so why
Hindi do-
why still 199 here? Diba you should be using na the 133 employees.
you show lang I've shown lang po the distribution po.
Oh yes, so 133. So in 133, how many office of the port manager will you get? The engineering, blah blah blah. So maybe you can use here sampling technique. Maybe it's stratified, I guess.
Yeah, I will take note.
Okay, it's still 199. You are still
Yes.
using the total population.
Okay po.
Our Excel, you review stratified random sampling design.
Certified random. Okay po.
So distribute the sample properly in the different divisions. How many will you get to the different divisions in here? That will still be 133 in total.
Okay po.
You've
Okay.
used the Sloven's formula. That's all. Thank you, Sir Craig. Thank you, Miss Mrs. Cantila.
Our Excel, comment on your statement of the problem. After
Yes.
number 1, you are going to ask on the employee work performance, because what happened to your statement of the problem, you go directly to significant relationship with the profile and the employee work performance. But you never ask on what is actually the work performance of the
Yes.
employees. No? So you go directly to number 2, but there's no data for
Work performance.
employee work performance. So dapat you are going to have number 1 profile, number 2 on the work performance. You ask first on the work performance, and then you go to number 3 on the significant relationship between profile and work performance. And the last one that's very important is actually the output of your thesis. What is actually the output of your thesis? Because that's the contribution of your thesis to public management. Knowing the profile, knowing the employee work performance, and knowing the relationship between the profile and the work performance, what is in the output of your study? What kind of output are you going to design? Are you going to provide intervention program, training design, or a model that you are going to look into? Okay, so
Yes.
it must be output based. What output are you going to include in your thesis? Okay, so thank you very much, panel members. Thank you very much, Arixel. And then after this, kindly send your honorarium to the GCash of our panel members.
Yes po. Thank you so much po mga prof.
Okay.
Thank
Those
you.
are done. Do not leave our Google Meet. No? Stay in our Google Meet. No? Be the audience of the oral defense. So we'll go to Ilwama. Ilwama, are you ready?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, Ilwama. You're alone man, Ilwama, no?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, so Ilwama, could you introduce yourself to the panel?
Good evening, Doc. Good evening, Sir Jade, Ma'am Mara, and Sir Jun. My name is Awang Jim Hailalapit, and my research topic is about advantages of choosing electronic online payment system and business solutions center in Meralco Complex.
So
Okay, so Jade, go ahead.
good evening, Miss Ilwana. I will ask you directly this
Yes.
question. Where did you
sir.
get this research? Is this your research proposal, or you got this from any other research?
Research proposal, sir. And I
Are you the
cited
one
some of
making this
the...
research proposal?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with the numbers, the bracket, the numbers inside the bracket in there?
This is the... I cited this information, sir, from a existing research also.
I
And
have
I wasn't able to put the name on the original person who stated
Are you are you familiar with the purpose of this bracket with numbers in there? Because I can see a lot of brackets in there with numbers.
actually, sir, honestly, no.
Supposedly these
No.
are the references.
What's the purpose? Yeah, I like to write on with the question about those numbers in brackets.
Brackets.
This number, sir, is like pointing into the references where I
Mhm.
cited
Yeah, yeah.
where I cited the information.
Remember, Ilwama, that's not the format that we are discussing in the
Yes,
class.
sir.
We're using the APA.
I just realized right now, sir, we're listening in the...
That we are doing in the class. No?
Yes, sir.
The
Exactly. I'm sorry for that.
Not the format for the APA. The format for the APA is actually author, and then comma, and then the year of publication.
So you know already the purpose of this bracket with numbers, and I have counted all the brackets with
Yes,
numbers
sir.
here.
Exactly.
And if I'm going to
Exactly.
check your references, it will not be it is not equal to the numbers you have in here. So where did you get this?
Uh, I the number of the number I inserted in the information
Yeah.
source.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no consistency also, Ilwama, no? If you look at your references, some have brackets and
And
some
some have not. So that's the question I have.
so
Maybe
there's no
Mm,
consistency, no?
you
Uh, there are brackets and some don't have any numbers enclosed by brackets.
and
yes, sir.
another thing, if you're going to use brackets in here, most of your references 2003, 2004, 1990, basically this is very outdated already. So and maybe you have to make sure when you use some sources, you really need to paraphrase not verbatimly. I have checked this one online and I have seen that it's really word for word. You copy this from an online
Mm,
source.
yes,
That's
sir.
why I'm very confused that there's a number here until 90, but in your references you don't have. So that's the
Mm,
question I have. So you really need to make your own. Okay, this is not just for plagiarism purposes. This is for you
yes,
to
sir.
really help the business, you know, for the business part. So I guess you really need to
Yeah,
check.
I checked that one also. I uploaded one in my Turnitin account. Turnitin is actually one way of checking on whether you copy
Mm,
the document from
yes, sir.
online sources. And
Mm,
uh,
mm,
similarity index is actually 90%.
That's
mm,
So,
I have checked this one
yeah,
and some other
both are
sources.
copied from different websites.
yes, sir.
So I just would like to ask also the same question, Ilawama, no?
Yes,
Uh,
doc.
which part did you make for this, and which part did you copy? No, because it seems in my
All
Turnitin output, no, when I checked it in my Turnitin account, most are actually plagiarized.
I cited some of the part of the definition of terms, mostly part of qualitative studies, sir.
Like in the introduction, most of them have citation, no? Citation, and
Yes, sir.
then
It's okay, son.
like you have there 1997, the online payment system. So the
Yes.
1997 online payment system has
Okay.
a bearing on what we are practicing for now.
No,
In
sir.
1997, did we have already an online uh, payment here in the Philippines?
Not yet, sir. It wasn't developed or adopted by Filipinos.
Yeah.
I
So
just
what do you,
get the wrong information.
yeah. But you need to, like in your introduction, no? Sorry, Jade, no, I'm also
Sige.
writing the introduction. No? The introduction is actually very long. And I don't see actually an introduction that is actually telling from a global perspective to, no, local
Mm.
perspective, and that's actually in Dipolog City. You come from Dipolog City, so are you actually looking into the online blah 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 in Dipolog City?
Um, Doc, my research study is within the building of Business Solution Center, not
Yeah,
in the pol.
yeah. From if not from Dipolog, from
Mm.
global to local perspective. So in the local setting, which part in the Philippines are you looking for?
Oh, within the area of my study, sir.
So which one? Be specific. Which one?
Business Solution Center, sir. The building where I work.
In Manila?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, in Manila. But I don't have that one as a concluding statement in your introduction.
Yes, sir. I already realized.
Yeah, because if you're going to look at the introduction, it must come from a global perspective to the local perspective. And your local perspective is your workplace. So dapat I can see that one in your workplace on what's that all about that you are going to look into your proposal. Okay? Say, Jade, go on. Sorry for that.
Um, for now, sir, that's all.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So for me, I suggest that you are going to revise totally, no, your proposal because majority are actually plagiarized as being viewed into by Turnitin account. No? For the information of all my students, we do have a Turnitin account. No? The Turnitin account will actually trace on where did you copy, no, your documents. So where did you copy your documents? Okay, sige, go ahead.
I guess Professor Mara.
Okay, Professor Mara.
Thank you, Sir
Hi,
Craig.
Prof. Good evening.
Okay, I agree with Sir Craig that the introduction is very verbose and some information are not needed. So also your figure 1 is on 1989 and
Yes.
that's already accepted. Also, I have observed that your hypotheses do not match with those on the statement of the problem. Yeah, so puro halos lahat you have to change it, 'di ba? As what Sir Craig said, na you're going to change your whole
Yes, ma'am.
proposal. Then on the hypothesis, so ano na lang, just consider that when you write your hypothesis, you must include also the alternative hypothesis. So there should be a null and alternative hypothesis. Okay? And then, ipa-change naman na, no? So, please also be informed that the scope and the limitation of the study should answer WH questions like who? Who are the participants? And I have
Okay,
seen,
ma'am.
okay, how is the study going to be done, mga things. And it shows in your manuscript that what you've written is very lacking. Kung naa kay naglabaw nga mga information, naa kay super kulang pod na information. Okay? So, di na lang ako i-ask ng ubang questions kay pa-change siya. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So, one comment lang with regards to your hypothesis
Yes, sir.
in which ipa-change mo na siya tanan. Make sure lang na ito nga, yun. Because you stated here about social influence and behavioral intention.
Yes, sir.
And looking at your statement of the problem, where is the social influence in your SOP?
Statement of the problem, sir. It's not stated. I'm sorry, sir. It's not stated in my statement of the problem.
Yes.
I only based on the conceptual framework on the graph.
Yeah.
On the chart.
So make sure when you revise your paper, you should have put there a question like social influence and also behavioral intentions. And I can't see any question with regards to behavioral intention.
Okay, sir.
All right. Also, then make sure that your paper is justified. And please observe intention. I guess that's all my comments and suggestions.
Thank you, Sir June. Is there anything else, sir and ma'am?
I noticed that there's no coherence of your statement of the problem. Like number 2, do you use an online payment system? And then you have the fourth one, which online payment did you use? So if you're going to look at into, you can have one, what is the general profile of the respondents, and you may go directly to which online payment do you use. No? You ask on what
Okay.
kind of online payment do you use. And then you may omit number two, do you use online payment system? Because if you have already this question, which online payment do you use? Then that would actually capture the answer for number two. And even when you are going to say, how often do you use online payment system? And you don't need to include the possible answers of your statement of the problem. You're going to have almost daily, almost blah, 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 about once a week, so forth and so on in your research instrument. But you don't need to reflect that one in the statement of the problem.
Okay,
Okay?
Doc.
So you
Thank you,
revise
Doc.
your statement of the problem in such a way that there is no redundancy. No? If you look at number two and number three, number two is actually embedded in number three. No? And then it would be better if you are going to have number four as number two. And then just omit number two and have number four as number two. And then number three, still number three. But you don't need to have 1.1, 1.3, so forth and so on. And include in your instrument less frequently or not at all. No? You don't use online payment system because there is a possibility that some of the respondents don't use actually online payment. Even for now, some are not actually using online payment. Okay,
Okay,
so
Doc.
the last one is on the output. What is the output of your study? No? Are you going to create a model? Are you going to create a training design? Are you going to create a program? Or what output no, that will be considered as a contribution of your thesis to the Master of Business Administration. Okay? And then check on the APA citation. No? The format is basically not on the format of SBC. So
Okay,
check that.
Doc.
Okay. So remember all the comments of the panel members. This one is actually recorded. I'm going to send you. I'm going to post the recorded video of our proposal defense in the stream of our Google Classroom. Okay, thank
Okay,
you
Doc.
very much. And then after this, Ilwama, could you send your honorarium to the
Sure,
panel?
Doc. Sure, Doc. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll go to Sir Rodrigo Montero. Sir Rodrigo, are you ready?
Yes, Doc, I'm ready.
Okay. Hold on for a moment. No? So, Sir Rodrigo, could you introduce yourself to our panel members?
Okay, good afternoon, Sir Craig. Good afternoon. Good evening again. Good evening, Professor John, Professor Mara, and Professor Jed. So my name is Rodrigo Montero Jr. I am a MPM student. I am currently residing in Zamboanga City, and my research proposal title is the harvest and post-harvest management practices impact on coffee beans quality in San Pablo, Zamboanga del Sur.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Rodrigo. No? So we are actually located in the different places of the Philippines. No? Ilwama, I guess you're in Manila, no? Am I right, Ilwama?
Yes,
Ilwama,
Doc.
yeah, you're
Yes,
in
Doc.
Manila. Our panel members in Dumaguete. Si Sir Rodrigo in Zamboanga City. I
Yes.
am in Dipolog. Juby is also in Dipolog. I'm actually here, no, in Olingan. Pacifico is in Tampilisan, right? No? That's why I decided to have this. Okay, so Jade, shall we start?
Um, uh, I have only a few comments on this. I will give some of them to Professor Mara and Professor Jun Klein. Kung sa kikitaas ka, Miss Ilwana, na introduction, maling mabaala ka, sir. So, can you add more on this? Sir Montero,
Yes,
good evening.
yes, sir. Bago lang po na ako na-realize na mabubod kayo akong introduction.
And please
Thank you, sir.
also
I will add
follow,
some.
yes, thank you, sir. Please also follow the APA format of your references at the last part, kay you're not following the APA format, I go directly to the definition of terms. This is not the definition of terms is not the abbreviated one, like for example DA, the Department of Agriculture. So you must really define the Department of Agriculture if you want to, not just the PCA. You're just, the abbreviated one, you're just completing the letters in here for DA, for DTI, for PCA, for DNR, and also definition of terms. You must really define the terms. Okay. And also you must really follow
Noted, sir.
the APA format. I'm just very I'm what is this? I have seen on page 12 until until pages yes,
Yeah,
page
the colors, yellow colors.
color. And I have checked it also that this is verbatimly copied from other
Yes,
sources. So you
I
have to,
admittedly I copied it from internet. Then I do some no.
so you have to check, Sir Craig is using the Turnitin in here, so the similarity index in there is very high na. So for now, that's all, Sir Craig.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you, sir.
very much, Jade. Mara, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mr. Montero.
Evening po,
I
ma'am.
agree with Sir Jade. I said a while ago that I comment a straightforward introduction. Pero nasobraan imuhang introduction. Okay. Let's go to the theoretical framework. Where did you get that figure?
Sorry po, ma'am.
Where did you get that figure? Is that yours in the theoretical framework? Is it?
Yes, actually the content I pattern it in the existing study, but the framework that's a self-made
Yes.
figure.
But the figure only, you copied it.
Yes po.
Then
Yes.
if you do that, you should cite the source. Okay. Okay. I have observed in your.
Actually, na-delete yung source. Ay. Sige. Thank you po.
Okay. On the statement of the problem, I have seen that there are a lot of variables in your study. Can you tell us which is or are the independent variables and the dependent variables?
The dependent variables is the kanang iyang murag kanang sanga-sanga, and the independent variable kanang harvest and
Let's go
post-harvest
to that.
management practices.
Okay, let's go to the statement of the problem, sir.
Okay pa.
Let's move on from the figure. Let's go to the statement of the problem. There are a lot of variables included. So which of these is independent and which is dependent?
Okay, for the number 2, that's dependent variable, equation number 2. And for the equation number 3, that also a dependent variable, as well as the number 4, that's a dependent variable. 5, variable. 6, also a dependent variable. 7, yes, dependent variable. And 8 is dependent variable. And the last one would be the independent variable,
So how about one?
number 9.
How about number 1, sub-problem 1?
Number 1 is also a dependent variable.
Dependent? So if your independent is
Dependent.
significant correlation, the significant correlation is not a variable. Okay.
Wait, I guess I mix it up.
So your variables are from 1 to 8. Then which is your independent variable among these?
The last one, that one being in place in the head of the fish, the harvest and post-harvest management practices impact on coffee beans quality.
Where is that?
Question number 10. Number 9.
Okay. If if the variables in number one is your dependent variable, okay. How does nine what asa ganito imong kuan? Imong
Number
independent?
9. Number 9.
It's still not a variable. It's you're asking the significant correlation or significant relationship. That's not a variable.
Ay,
Okay.
yes,
So
ma'am.
okay.
I
Clearly,
started connected po. Apo.
you haven't familiarized which is independent or dependent. Okay? That's what you're going to work on.
Yes.
Okay. Again, I have said this so many times that when you state the hypothesis, include null and alternative. Okay, the significance of the study. I have observed that what's written there is not the significance of the study. Okay, it's very long, but it's wrong. It's not the significance of the study. Diba? Also, as what Sir Jade said, nasa definition of terms, obviously, these are not the variables of the study. Acronyms, then imo lang gikuan. So, you have to remove that. On the related literature, sulti na po ni Sir Jade katong mga kuan, plagiarized nga mga information. That's all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Mara. June.
Okay. So, first is, since nais ko ni Mamara and Sir Jade, with regards to your introduction. Okay, now when writing your significant of the study, you should remember this question: who is this significant to? Okay, is this significant to the businessman, the coffee drinker? Okay, actually, this the one that you have written in the significant of the study could be written in the introduction. Okay, since this is describing how the Philippines is one of the countries producing 4 coffee varieties. Okay, now with regards to your SOP, okay, I assume that this research will not be only to those coffee farmers, right? But also to some businessmen or like coffee drinkers.
Question, sir.
Okay, now since your SOP number 9 is you are talking about the significant correlation between harvest and post-harvest management, you should identify which of these in your SOP are harvest management practices and post-harvest management. Because you will not always be explaining that, for example, katong may mga sanga-sanga ang harvest o katong sa ubos ang post-harvest. If I'm the reader, wala ka, how could I look for the harvest practices and the post-harvest practices? So you should also indicate those.
Noted, sir.
Okay. Okay. So your respondents here are coffee farmers, right?
Yes, 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 Doc.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not a doctor yet.
No
Uh,
attraction.
okay, all right. Okay. Are you going to ask all the coffee farmers in municipality of San
No, sir.
Pablo?
No, sir.
Okay. So make sure that you put here the method. Here you have the method on how or how many are you going to have a survey.
And that's why, kaya hindi ko mawawalan ako ibutang, sir, kasi I haven't yet identified as to how many of them. That's
Yeah.
why my first is to get the directory of the farmers.
Great, great. Okay. And with regards to this questionnaire, are you the one making these questionnaires or you're just adapting this?
Some of those, sir. So like for example, the technical ones, so I pattern it the existing in the internet. But the question number 8 and 9 and 1, I mailed it myself.
8 and 9 is for yourself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But your questionnaire here is I8. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. So make sure that you also put here that, I mean, don't forget to do a pilot study of your research so that it can be validated via Cronbach's Alpha. I think that's my comments and suggestion. I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, John. Sir Rodrigo, no? Going back to your statement of the problem, like number 7, you don't need to include yes or no, no? But indicating yes or no will be part of your research instrument. And so with number 8, now how much per kilo does your coffee bean being sold? No? So you don't need to include 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, but you're
Mhm.
going to have that one in your research instrument. No?
Yes, noted lang.
And then the last one should be your output. What is the output of your research of your thesis? In such a way that that will be considered as the contribution of your thesis into public management.
My expected output po is to come up with a certain module that would, depending on the result of the research,
So that
if
should be
there's
the
really
last
an impact,
problem.
I would
Okay.
wish to come up a module that the farmers can be used, no, in their farming practices para
Okay, so we are going to
makapag
include that one
quality.
in the statement of the problem. No? That what module can be designed, blah, blah, blah. No? Include that one. Because that's the output of your study and that's the contribution of your thesis to public management. And then
Noted.
going back to significance of the study, yeah, I agree with the comment. No, nga, it's not actually the significance of the study. What you are going to consider in there is who can benefit, no? Who can benefit the findings of your study? Itemize that one. Blah, 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 blah. And then in what way they can benefit. No? So you're going to itemize people, persons, agencies, organizations, and then indicate on how each can benefit the findings of your study. And then looking at your definition of terms, it's not all about the acronyms. No? The acronyms are not to be defined under definition of terms. But when you have the acronym in the manuscript, for example, St. Vincent's College, so you are going to write St. Vincent's College, then open parentheses, SVC, then close parentheses. But you are going to do that the first time you use that one in the entire manuscript. The second one, you just write SBC, SBC. And then if you're going to use World Health Organization, so you're saying, the first time you use that one, World Health Organization, then open parenthesis, WHO, close parenthesis. And then the next time you use that one, use the WHO, use the acronym. You're going to spell it out the first time you use in the manuscript. The second time around, so forth and so on, would be acronyms. So no acronyms shall be defined under operational definition of terms. But what are to be defined under operational definition of terms? The variables that are found in the statement of the problem, both independent variables and dependent variables. Okay? And then your introduction, no? Normally ang introduction is at least, no? At least one page, no? At least, no? One page. So this is not acceptable, so just revise that one, no? Okay. So revise that one according to the comments of the panel members. This actually recorded. I'm going to upload the recorded video of this oral defense once we are done. So thank you very much, panel members. Thank you very much, Sir Rodrigo. No? I'd like to request everyone to open their camera. By the way, there are two, no? Si Ma'am Paro and si Ma'am
Open your camera.
will be available after 8 o'clock because they are working, no, in banks. And you know naman, if they're working in banks, they can go out after 8 o'clock. And then I don't know what's happening with Ma'am Solamilio, no? So can you open your camera? We'll have picture documentation, no? So we have picture documentation. Open your camera. Okay, open your camera. And then we will have a break, no? And then I request everyone, although you are done with your defense, we will get back around 8:30, no? For the remaining two groups. No? And then Sir Rodrigo, kindly
Yes,
send
Doc.
to our panel members. No? I think the GCash numbers of our panel members
Yes,
are
Doc.
actually in the stream, no, of our Google Classroom. And then, hold on, I'll stop the recording. Okay. So, Mara, June Klein, and Jade, is it okay? We're going to resume by 8:30. So I'll close this one, and then we'll get back by 8:30. And then those who are done, so please join us also, no, by 8:30, no, for the
Yes,
audience
Doc.
two groups. So,
Sir Craig, last na lang sa si Miss Paro na lang ug si Miss Valles.
Miss Paro and Miss Valles are actually sharing one proposal. And then Ma'am Solamilio, I don't know what's happening to her, but we are expecting last two groups na lang.
Asan ni kami Solamilio gani, sir?
I think wala pa siya nag-upload, no? So I think one more na lang atong paaboton kay Miss Paro and Miss Valles.
Naa siya gi-upload, sir, pero research ko may business proposal.
Business proposal. So I think that's the con.
10 pages sa po, sir. Parang delete ko siya.
If that's what she is able to upload, then we'll go into that na lang, Jane, no?
Project proposal lang ni iya, sir.
Oo. There are two tracks na good sa SBC, no? Thesis track and then the other
Project.
one in terms of project proposal.
Mhm.
Okay, so sorry panel members, no? Klein, thank you very much. Mara, thank you very much. Jay, thank you very much. And all my students, no? Ilawama, Arixel, Pacifico, Juvie, and Sir Montero, thank you very much. And see you again by 8:30 tonight.
Okay, Doc. Thank
Yes,
you po, Doc.
Doc.
Thank you, Ma'am and
Thank you,
Sir.
Doc.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, sir, mag-out ba mi? Ay,
Oo, mag-out na.